Hello and welcome. Carrie here from Healing Humanity, the Power of a Proper Human Diet. And I have my new friend here, Demetrius. How's it going?
How's it going, Kerry? Nice to see you. Gosh, finally, after watching you for the last 2 months, going crazy and investigating everything on my own, I finally get to meet you live. So, hi, and I'm so glad to be here this evening. And hi to everyone. Hi, everyone in the chat as well.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here and thank you for doing your video. You put out a video. You lost 50 pounds in 50
Yeah.
days at age 50, and you sent it to me, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And you're really fired up, you're really inspired, you got that passion. So I wanted to hear more of your story, share it with our audience, and open it up to any questions. So anyone that's watching right now, we got a lot of people jumping on right now. If you have any questions for Demetrius, please post them in the sidebar with a QQQ. Yeah, maybe if we could just start out, Demetrius, could you tell me maybe a little bit about your life before you found Lion Diet?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hi, everyone. Good evening. Well, I've always been a very active person when I was younger. Very sporty, did a lot of sports, did a lot of dancing, rugby, cricket, tennis, you name it. But that's when you're really young, you can do loads of things. Obviously, growing up, I was conditioned by everyone around me, people around me, companies around me, and I just started following all sorts of advice from the wrong people. And anyway, life got in the way. I started doing interesting things in life. I became a security professional in the computer industry, and that means sitting down a lot, right? So when you sit down a lot in front of a computer, you tend to binge a lot of food, you eat the wrong things, and well, long story short, I came up to a number of years where I was yo-yoing like you between keto dieting and not. So I've had to go through the changes, and I've gone, I've lost weight, I've gained weight, lost weight, and gained weight. But I was even when I'd lose weight with keto, I wasn't happy. I wasn't enjoying it. I kept on being ravenous and wanting to eat extra food, and I just wasn't getting what I truly thought I wanted. I mean, yeah, I was getting slim, but I wasn't getting my mind right. It wasn't working for me. Around the age of 48, just after, well, about 3 years ago, just after the entire world went through that craziness, I began to really take on board eating a lot more vegetables, hitting no, I wouldn't say vegan, but I got it very close to vegan and very close to sort of vegetarian a few times. And I started just bumping up the vegetarian food, the veggies, the fruits. And I was especially addicted to fruits. I'm half South African and I'm half Greek. So Greeks, we love food, first of all, quite oily food. And then South Africans, we love actually usually a lot of meat, and we love fruits a lot. Now, when I was younger, the surprising thing was when I was a rugby player and I was really active, I was a predominantly meat eater, and I was very happy, especially in my dancing days, because I was a Latin American dance champion when I was in South Africa. Wow. Anyway, and I was really fit when I was young. At the age of 48, I became seriously unfit because of the massive intake. I was doing about 2 years of literally 90% vegetables and fruits, and really I minimized my meat. And I was eating 3 to 4 times a day. I was going to the gym, but I was getting no decent results. I was unhappy. I became very close to depressed. I mean, I didn't go through the difficulties like you did, Kerry, with a lot of medication. Luckily, I didn't have that. But I did go through my own difficulties. I had skin conditions and blood pressure problems and cholesterol issues and all sorts of crazy things. And you can all, if you're all interested, you can watch my video, because I do a massive confession in my video when it comes to that. But something happened to me. And it happened February 16th this year. So literally almost 2 months ago to the day. It's basically 2 days apart. So 2 months ago, roughly, 2 months and 2 days, I had an accident in the kitchen while I was trying to make vegetables in the wok, and I was trying to cook, and I'm quite familiar with the oven and everything. I'm a very good chef as well. And I had an accident in the kitchen, and I had a major burn in my hand, a first-degree burn. Luckily, I've done first aid, so I managed to get myself all stabilized, and I I live in Wales, and I live in a place called Barry. So I'm about half an hour away from Cardiff. So I'd drive all the way to Cardiff with one hand on the steering wheel, one hand on the air conditioning. Anyway, I got there, and I was really worried about this burn. And the doctors looked at it. Obviously, I spent hours there, and they were really concerned about me losing the nerve endings on my hand because it was really bad. It was the left hand, and I'll show it to you in a bit. So they said, okay, let's deal with this now, and we'll go through every second day redressing of the wounds. And I was like, oh, gosh, okay. And they said to me, you can't work for the next 3 to 4 months. I'm like, why? Well, you are a computer guy. You can't even type anymore. And I realized, okay, I've got issues. And I was worried. I was really worried. I had to cancel 60 days of work in total. And I got home the following, 24 hours later. And the funny thing is, I came across your videos and Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee before this accident happened. So I was already in the process of thinking about all this. And I was also watching Jordan Peterson. Sorry, my bad there. And he's very good in psychology, and I've always followed him. So he's also into, carnivore and so on. So I already had this in my mind, and I knew in my mind that I needed to go back to what I was when I was younger and do what I used to do, and that is eat meat and really give myself the best possible chance to recover, because I wasn't happy with the doctors saying that I needed to recover in 6 months. So I started the process, but I took a different approach. I took the extreme approach, and I went lion diet all the way. So basically, I went straight for ribeye steaks, because I can do it, and I went for salt and water, and that's it. The good thing is, the wonderful thing about this whole story is I've always loved meat, because I'm South African. We love our meat in South Africa. So I didn't have a problem with that. If you had asked me to go into a diet that said eat all the vegetables and the fruits in your life, I'd be seriously bored out of my mind. So I'm glad that happened. And as the days went on, every second to third day that I was going back to redress the wounds on my hand, the nurses and the doctors kept on saying, gosh, you're recovering quickly. You're recovering really quickly. And they were quite surprised. And I was enjoying this. I was taking photos of everything. All my photos will be available in my video in the next couple of days. I'm just trying to sort them out. And I was really enjoying the process. Now, that first week I felt like $1 million, even though I was going through major pain with the burn in my hand. Like everybody else that may have gone through this or is trying to go through this, you may come across a time where you're going to start to feel bad because toxins and oxalates will start leaving your body. And I did go through that while I'm trying to, in a way, nurse my hand and deal with it every second day. It actually got to the stage where one of the days I went back into the hospital and I spoke to a nurse. And I mentioned this in my video. And she saw the wounds and how they'd recovered. And this is like 3 or 4 weeks into this. I hadn't even thought of weight loss. I wasn't even thinking about that. My main objective was to heal the hand, right? My burn. I needed to get back into work because a lot of people rely on me. I'm a professional in the IT industry and I have to support a lot of companies. Anyway, and the nurse was really shocked. She goes, wow, you've recovered so quickly. Your projected time is not 6 months, it's 2 months. I was like, okay. So she called doctors in and everything. And when they came in and examined me and they took blood tests, and they took the cholesterol, they did blood pressure, they did everything they needed to do. And they saw that I was operating in top condition. Now I know that I had problems with blood pressure and cholesterol a long time ago. So that all disappeared. And then essentially what's happened out of all of this is that I'm now just over 50 days. I'm 53 days. So even though my video was 50 pounds in 50 days at 50 years old, the 50 pounds has changed and the 50 days have changed. I'm 53 days into this and I'm now basically down another 5 pounds. So essentially I've gone from 308 pounds, as you say in the United States, in that system, or in the metric system, 140 kilos, which I'm quite short. I'm 174, so 5'8". And I've gone all the way down from 308 pounds to 253 pounds in 53 days. So it's incredible. But all the other benefits, which I've mentioned in my video, and Kerry, you've seen the video, it's an echo chamber of everyone who's going through this thing as well, who's decided to, and it's not a diet. People need to understand this has nothing to do with dieting. This is just the proper way to eat, the way humans were designed to eat. And I just wasn't really going back to what I was when I was a young kid, thinking, why am I always doing so well at school, so well in sports? And because I was eating really good meat at the time. I wasn't thinking of that when I was an adult, when I'm an adult now. Now I'm doing it. Now I'm thinking about it. So long story short, what can I say? I'm ecstatic about the results. And yeah, there's naysayers and people that are complaining, people are saying the wrong things, and they're constantly trying to judge. But I don't care. I've always been a very strong-fast, strong-headed person. And I've always believed that when you reach a particular stage, then you need to speak it out and shout it out from the tallest mountains. And that's why I decided to make the video. So my results have been fantastic, and I'm just echoing everything you've said, and I'm echoing everything that I've heard from Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee. I think it was Dr. Baker. There was Jordan Peterson, and quite a few others, even Joe Rogan for that matter. Yeah. Gosh, people around the world need to wake up to the truth, really, because there's nothing shameful about it. You want to live a long life, you got to do the right things. And the funny thing is, this is very simple.
Right? It's almost like you just got to get out of the way and give your body the proper food it was supposed to eat.
Yeah.
And man, that's just the healing part. So you went in this to heal
heal my hand, and now my hand looks like this. And it's not bad. It's not bad. If you had to see what it looked like in the beginning, it was seriously, I mean, it's not even, I don't even feel any pain. It's just the last bits of the skin trying to sort of recuperate. It was so bad that the doctors thought I would lose the nerve endings. It was that bad. Wow. And my objective was not to lose weight. I knew I had to at some point lose weight. But then when this happened, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, I'm going to be another 3 or 4 months on the couch, not being able to exercise. When am I going to actually lose weight? Now I've got to deal with this healing. I wasn't thinking about the weight loss. I was just thinking about healing the hand. But the side effect was I not only healed my hand and much faster, but I managed to lose all this weight. And really, the weight is not the problem. The weight loss is not what I believe is the best part. And even the healing of my hand, I knew that eventually it would heal. Being a professional in my field, I don't just concentrate on cybersecurity, digital forensics, and everything that I do. I'm also an author and a writer. I write kids' books. They're all behind me. I'm an instructor. I teach. I write courses. I do a lot of things, and I'm involved in a lot of things. And I've always been very energetic. And all my students and all my friends and colleagues have always said, gosh, you got so much energy. Now, it's 1,000 times more that.
I could tell from your video.
Yeah, but the most important thing is not that. For me, what I gained the most was the clarity.
Yeah.
Was the ability to see things now that I couldn't see before. And my focus and my mind is so clear that I haven't felt like this since I was a teenager.
Right.
And I'm 50,
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
That is one of the most amazing things for me too, that I was like, I knew I had some brain fog and fatigue before, but you go your whole life like that and it just becomes normal. And maybe the reason you're so passionate about this and fired up, similar to mine, is so many people in the world right now, they're in that stupor, that brain fog. They're just barely getting along. And you're like, they're never going to know what it feels like to feel like you feel or like I feel. They're going to go their whole lives feeling like that. It's such a shame.
It's such a shame. And the truth behind all of this is that, capitalism is a good thing, but if you actually look at the strategic side of everything, as a forensic investigator, I've investigated a bit further into this. The entire food industry is making a total of $13 trillion. I'm doing it in dollars, not in pounds at the moment. $1 trillion. But what mankind and people around the world are losing against that $13 trillion is over 60 trillion, roughly. And it's probably more because, if companies actually concentrated on the other side of the scale, First of all, that'd make a lot more money, and then people would just be a lot healthier, and then mankind would just progress a lot further and a lot faster. But we're just getting sicker and sicker in the world, and I see it over and over again. And it's not just a shame or sad. It's actually disheartening.
Yeah,
it really is disheartening.
Yeah,
no matter how much you and I can talk, we just need a massive wave of or anybody who's doing this, a massive wave of consciousness to change, because this is a very big wall of huge conglomerate companies that just are in themselves. They are themselves inside that trough. They can't realize that it's not just, making that amount of money. It's also making sure you push humanity forward. That's why I love your documentary you're going to make, Healing Humanity. It's spot on, because it's exactly what it should be. And the world needs to heal, seriously.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. That is one of the big driving forces behind it, because all of the things you listed, it was the same for me. And I've heard it from so many people. Start a proper human diet, usually for one reason. Sometimes it's weight, sometimes it's type 2 diabetes, but then all of these other things heal. And they're like, whoa, This is just incredible. But on the documentary, like, we were doing it for depression, anxiety. That was the big one. Obesity, type 2 diabetes, all of these major chronic things. But more so, Demetrios, just later in this, I'm like, I'm just doing it now because if we ignore all of those things, like humanity tends to, we get in this social norm. Everything's just fine. Everyone's overweight and sick and they have all these issues. There's this social norm that says, oh, that's just the way it's always been. Even if we go along with that and kind of agree with it, the fact that the majority of humanity right now is in that brain fog, going along to get along, you come home and you plop down on the couch because you don't have enough energy to do anything, is people aren't living. They're not living. They're just doing enough to get by. And that's a really sad thing.
They're not living. It's like a frog. It's like a frog sitting in a pot boiling slowly. It doesn't know it's getting cooked.
Yep.
Really
that's one of the challenges too, is breaking that sort of social. It's like there's like two things that have to be broken. One is like the social norm. Oh, we just always ate sugar. We always ate processed foods. But then the second part is it happens slowly over time, and people think it's just always been that way. It's just normal, but it's
difficult, right? It's difficult. Kerry, I was thinking about it today because I was watching the new video from Chafee today, and also another video you put up, and Dr. Berry as well. And I thought back again, and I realized, young kids, when they're growing up, you tell me, out of the majority of the children that we have today in families, how many of them love vegetables and fruits? Or fruits maybe, but vegetables.
Right.
The majority don't. They hate them because the natural instinct is to not like them. Yes, they are addicted to sugar. Of course, all humans are, because we are from a young age. So fruits are nice, sugary stuff's good, but vegetables not really. So we need to listen to that. Your instinct in life always comes first, then your mind, because your mind will play tricks on you. Your brain can give you fog on its own. You can have fog being introduced by other people around you, the industry, all of that. But we forget to think, hey, instinct first, and then think about what you're going to do next. And that's where people are it's like walking off a cliff and saying, yeah, it's okay, it's not a problem, and then everyone just follows like sheep. It just doesn't work. And the problem is, there's going to be a tipping point. The system will crack, and then they just won't be able to handle it. So I know change is coming, and it's going to be for the better.
Yeah.
But it has to be a massive wave, and for the right reasons,
Right. So. It definitely feels like it's coming too. It seems like This is spreading more and more. And I think the reason why is simple. It's just because it works. You talked about instinct, intuition, whatever, but all of the diets I've done leading up to this point, I did all of them. Counting calories, Weight Watchers, pretty much plant-based at one point, keto diet, everything. And every one of those, I never had instinct or intuition or a feeling like, oh, this is right. This is sustainable. I'm going to run this all the way through. It was always a struggle. And it was always like I was forcing myself to do something unnatural. This is the only thing for me that's ever been, I don't even think about it. It's just, I'm eating food. It's the most natural thing in the world. So,
well, I got to the stage now where I only eat once a day. I eat midday. I have my ribeye steaks. If I don't have a ribeye, I probably have some kind of stew that I prepared in a pressure cooker or something like that. my intake of fat has dramatically increased because I've obviously followed your direction. But the best part is that I don't have to worry about all the rest of the day. I just don't think about it. Who cares about thinking about the food? And the food's not meant to be a habit. It's supposed to be nutritious.
Right.
I always had it the other way around.
Yeah, I think everyone does. That's like a significant point too, when that changes in your brain where you're like, I'm eating for nutrition now. It's no longer entertainment. And it's very liberating when that happens. You freeze up so much for your mind and even just your actual time in the day, not worrying about cooking all these foods and stuff.
The one thing I've noticed, and I've always been a very visual and very vibrant person. I'm South African and Greek together. I'm so much more calmer and relaxed now, yet I'm able to do the amount of work I'm doing at the same intensity and even more than what I used to without feeling the stress.
Right.
To me, stress is gone in a way. It doesn't make any sense right now because I'm still in the process of going through this, but I find it fascinating that I'm no longer, because I was always a happy kid, always, when I was growing up, always very happy. And then in my 30s and 40s, I became unhappy. And my entire family and friends or whatever, you noticed it. Now all of a sudden everything's changing. I'm much happier. And then immediately my friends and family are noticing, even though they don't understand what I'm trying to do. and they're sort of trying to lecture me. Oh, you got to be more balanced and you got to have this. I'm like, you can, and this is crazy. I'm saying this, and I said it in my video. You can pay me $1 million today and I won't go back to what I was. I won't, because of the way I feel. It's just, I can't explain it. You have to do it. You have to challenge yourself and do it.
Right. I'm with you 100%. I think I said that in my 30-day video. I was like, give me a lottery ticket for $1 million. I'd rip it up. And so many people, they're like, you're a liar. You're a liar. And I'm like, I'm absolutely, put it in front of me right now. I'll rip it up if I have to go back to what that was before. Because I wasn't living before. We're living now. What people fear death so much, right? Everyone's worried of death. What they should be worried about is getting to an old age and dying, having never lived, just through that brain fog their entire time. And that's what most people are going to do. And we're not doing that. So it's hard not to be fired up and excited about it. But your point, Demetrius, about your ability to get things done. And I wish we could chart it on a graph for carnivores, because there is something there for sure. Like if you had your success, right? If you had a success chart, you would be able to see, oh, he started carnivore on this day. Because like for everybody, myself included, whatever your measure of success is in life, whether it's good relationships with your family or it's financial success or whatever, it just seems like it goes up. And I think it's because we're thinking clearly, we're more cognitive ability, we have more energy, we're like actually living.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what you said earlier. We get out of our own way.
Right.
Because we try to complicate life as humans, always.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas if you think about what we're trying to do with the carnivore diet and the lion diet, is you're going back to what we call the KISS principle. So you're simplifying everything. Keep it simple and straightforward. Why is that term there? It's there for a reason. Very intelligent people came up with it. But it definitely gets out of your way, and you don't have to worry and stress about what you do, when you do it, how you do it, what you eat. Because you know that everything else that you do after your meal that you've eaten is going to be something that you can concentrate on at 100%, irrespective of the time of the day. And that's a new concept for a lot of people. It's hard to explain. Like you said, it's very hard to measure. I think the measurement scale really is your happiness level. How happy were you? I'm not talking about what have you accomplished. Accomplishments can happen at any time. Anyone can accomplish anything, really. But are you happier then compared to what you're happy now? Happy as in not content. I'm talking about happiness as in, you could put a smile on your face and say, yep, I'm proud of who I am, because everyone is unique and everyone is special. Of course we are. We're humans. We've got a life. It's incredible. You're breathing, you're living. So why not treating yourself that way with the ultimate possible bonus of food possible to give you the right nutrition, so that everything else you do in your life just becomes, in a way, I wouldn't call it second nature, but not a breeze to go through, but manageably easily go through it. Like you can handle things rather than being overwhelmed by things and then having to stress and try to deal with stuff. Now okay, I've got that task, I'm going to do it. that your mindset changes as you get more clarity, because you realize you can do anything.
Right. You know, from the outside looking in, people would be like, oh, you're just going to eat meat and now all of a sudden you feel like you could do anything. But what it really is keeping it simple. We're just going back to this is the natural state of humanity. Everybody should feel like this. Everybody should be having a smile on their face and gratitude and energy, and they shouldn't be fatigued and have all of these confusions and brain fogs and can't find their words. But it's not that we're eating meat and it's giving us a superpower. Demetrius and myself, we're just at the standard baseline of where all humanity could be if we just kept it simple and got out of the way and put the proper food in and stopped slowly poisoning ourselves with all this garbage we were never supposed to eat.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no other way you can say that. Balance in life doesn't mean eating a balanced diet. It means balancing the way you do everything. Food, life, everything. And if food is one thing you have to worry about on one side of the scale, you got to worry about everything else. But here's the problem. When you're starting eating all these vegetables and fruits, and especially sugar, because I'm like you, I got addicted to sugar. Yeah. Sodas and pops, as you call them. It was terrible. And crisps or chips, as you say. Being an IT guy, a nerd, because I am a nerd, I spend a long time behind the desk, so it's natural for you to binge on stuff. It is in long hours, so it's not healthy. It's not viable. And when you and here's the thing, you're only going to see this. You're only going to notice that you got to make this change when you hit either rock bottom, or when you realize, well, you cannot continue like this, either because you know you're going to have an early grave, or something drastic, an emergency happens to you, or if more and more and more and more people get together and start creating this wave, because people are habitual. You know, we have habits, and unfortunately, we don't go towards the good habits. This is a fantastically good habit. I mean, I can see the results. And if you all watch the video, my video, the benefits, I haven't even spoken about any of the major benefits so far. In my video, I go through so many. There's even more the last 3 days that I've had, which has been a revelation for me. And I've never had that with any kind of food that I've eaten, except now with meat. And I used to be like this when I was a teenager. So I'm not going back, that's for sure.
Right.
no matter what.
Well, speaking of your other video, I do have a link in the description to Demetrius' channel, so everyone's got to go check that out for sure. What are a few of the other things that you just mentioned, that benefits that you're feeling?
One of the most important things is that I am able to sleep a lot less. Now, when I say that, I've always been someone who doesn't sleep a lot because I've been a late night person, being in IT, but I've always struggled the following day because I've had to get my 7 hours sleep. I've had to get, a lot of rest. Otherwise, I'd be a zombie the next day. In the last 3 days, for some strange reason, I'm able to only sleep 5 hours a day. And I wake up and I'm a machine. But I'm not just a machine and getting tired. I don't have to, like, at the end of the week, pass out for the next 5 or 6 or 10 hours or something like that, like I used to sometimes. I would work flat out for an entire week because I teach as well. And I would then spend most of my Saturday in bed because I was so damn tired after the long hours. Because when I work from 9 in the morning till 10, 11 at night. These are very long hours. And I'd be dead because of the crazy intake of huge amount of carbs that I was taking in. And I would be bloated and full and whatever. So I'd still work the long hours, but I was not handling it. And I would fall apart at the end of the week. And then slowly I was gaining weight over time, over the years. Now, for the last 3 to 4 days, I've been able to get up at 5 in the morning every day, which I've never been able to do. I've never been a morning person. I don't feel tired. I have the same amount of energy I've had in the last 50 days that I've been doing this. And I also don't get hungry in the morning. I don't have tea anymore. I don't drink coffee anymore. Those are big changes. Those are gone. Coffee and tea's gone. Caffeine has disappeared. I don't need caffeine anymore. I don't need tea. Tea is like for sick people, really. That's what I say. And at the end of the day, and that's a pretty big change for me because now I'm just going to become even more productive.
Right.
Which is insane. An extra 2 hours a day. that can allow me to, create all sorts of stuff. So that's a big change. And the other big change was that today, for the first time, I went for a 5-mile run. I haven't run even a mile for the last 30 years. Never mind, when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, I used to run all the time, but I haven't done this in so long. But I went for the run, and I don't feel sore at all. I'm not, my limbs are not sore, my ligaments are not sore, my muscles are not sore, and I did a pretty decent run. And I wasn't thinking about even getting tired, and I wasn't out of breath, because I've been doing a little bit of walking the last 3 weeks, and that really boosted the process. But now I went for a run, but I didn't run intentionally to go running. I literally got out of my apartment, because I live very close to the beach, and I just thought to myself, this is a good day. It's an overcast day in Wales. It's always raining here. So I went out in the rain. It's cold. It's like 10 degrees. I wasn't feeling cold. So that's the second thing. I didn't feel cold anymore going outside. That doesn't make any sense. Didn't even wear a jacket, and I went for a run. And I started running without thinking, I must start running. I just decided to go running. That's never happened to me. Never. And it's a crazy feeling, me running. That's insane. So, and I've always been when I was younger and I was a teenager, I was always a sprinter. I used to run 100 meters, 200, the normal athletics. I never ran long distance. I reckon I could start doing that, but I'm not going to go crazy. I'll just do it once, twice a week, if that. Maybe once a week is enough. Because the last 50 days, all my gains and the things that have improved have been with zero exercise, purely because I've been trying to nurse the burn and I couldn't do anything. So 90% of your life improvement and health is the food. 5% is possibly exercise. And the other 5% is getting your mind right. You got to be psychologically straight. And the good thing is, the food that we're eating now does both the 90% of your health and the extra 5% of your mindset. So now you're just left with 5% for workouts and exercises. Wonderful. Especially for busy people. It's fantastic.
Right. Well, I love that you said that too. That was something that used to drive me nuts before finding proper human diet. When I was way overweight, people would say, just go to the gym, go exercise. And I'm like, I'm sick. In retrospect, I realized I was overweight. I was out of breath. I was fatigued. I had brain fog. It was like telling someone with the flu, go exercise. I didn't lose any weight exercising. It was all diet. I only started, just like you, I started exercising after I started healing and I felt better. Yeah. And then you get this energy. You're like, I got to do something.
Your body wants to do it.
Right.
Your body wants to do it. And remember, when you're trying to work out and you're not very, I suppose, healthy or slim, you're really just burning most of the time. You're burning a lot of the water away. But also what you're doing is you're building lactic acid in your body. So you're going to walk out of there. If you do too much, you'll have pains and aches, and you might even pull a ligament, because you're not in that state. Your body's not in that state for your body to sort of handle that kind of workout. And at the same time, the food hasn't really penetrated all the ligaments in the right way. So you can actually build your body up. So you could actually hurt yourself. And then you can go to the gym, do a bit of a workout a few months of the year or whatever, and then you come out and you'll lose weight, and then you'll probably come and gain it all back and even more. And it's not going to work. You need to rather get your body right, get it to the right healthiness, let your body tell you, hey, I need to work out today. That's when you know. Not, I got to do this because I got to lose weight. No.
Right? Yeah.
Get healthy first.
I always feel bad when I see someone, maybe they're slightly overweight, but you see them, they're jogging or running, and you're like, well, good for you, you're trying. But then in my heart, they're going to go home and be like, I did a good job running. Now I could have some chips, or I could have some ice cream or something like that. It's fix the nutrition first, and then the rest will come.
Yeah. But I have so many of my friends doing that. Going back after the gymnasium, eating all the carbs again, dropping alcohol. It's just my one cousin that I have. He's a bodybuilder, right? He's a full-blown professional bodybuilder. He's done in his entire career, and he's a 100% strict carnivore. And when I say to you, these people are very, very strict about eating food, they are usually, and they take all kinds of supplements and everything. He doesn't do any of that, and he looks completely 100% natural. The best part is he doesn't go through phases. He doesn't have to go and bulk up and cut down and all that nonsense. He's just always there, always looking the same, looking fantastic. Because, and I didn't know he did this. I only recently found out he's a carnivore. Told me straight out. He says, I can't believe what you're doing. Do the right thing because this is what I've been doing for 35 years. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
Someone who's in bodybuilding told me that. So that's pretty cool.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like when you see some of these doctors, like you mentioned earlier, like Dr. Chafee.
Yeah.
That's what I want my doctor to look like, Dr. Chafee, and behave like Dr. Chafee. That guy's got incredible energy. All the doctors that I saw before, not someone I necessarily want to emulate. I mean, it's kind of like when you take your car in to get it fixed somewhere, you don't want to take it to someone that's got a bunch of broken down cars sitting outside in their front yard. You want to take it to the guy that knows what they're doing.
Well, a lot of MDs or doctors in general practitioners, they'll try to solve the problem with medication.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to surgeons. Surgeons are different. Surgeons do go straight for what they need to do because that's what their task is. They'll go in, they'll cut, and they'll do a surgery. They're fine. But when it comes to normal MDs and normal GPs, unfortunately, like I said in my video, they're shackled because the industry pushes pharmaceuticals in such a way, and it doesn't really warrant for them to make you healthy because you're not going to go back and get medication. So, and also a lot of them are not educated this way. The education system is wrong. Whatever happened, I remember back, because I'm half Greek, right? So whatever happened to the Hippocratic Oath?
Yeah.
Doctors are always supposed to protect the health of the patient.
Do no harm.
Do no harm. Where's that Hippocratic Oath gone? I'm going to challenge doctors on this because there's something wrong. It's just not working for people, and people are not seeing this until it's too late.
Yeah. I get fired up with that. It's funny you mentioned the Hippocratic Oath. I was talking to my wife, Jen, about that before. I'm like, because some people are like, well, the doctors, their hands are tied and they can only do medication and stuff like this. But then I'm like, well, if I dedicated my entire life to healing people as a doctor, there's good doctors out there that have figured this out, like Dr. Chafee and Dr. Barry. Dr. Tony Hampton, he's a practicing doctor. He said to me when we interviewed him for the documentary, he was like, I saw that what I was doing didn't work. I found keto, carnivore, low carb, and I decided to change things. And now he sees so many patients. He's like, my first 15 years as a doctor, I got maybe 5 people off their medications. He said last week, I got 7 people off their medications. One of them off insulin they thought they would be on for the rest of their life. So if you're dedicating your whole life to this, like I give them a little bit of leeway, but when people are like, oh, the doctors have their hands tied, there's nothing they could do. I'm like, it is doing harm. The Hippocratic Oath, do no harm. It was doing harm to me, constantly putting me on more and more medications and not treating the root cause of the problem. I feel foolish in retrospect because I was on so many pills. But on the flip side, it was like, I was trusting the doctor. I'm like, this guy went to school for what, 8 years? Like, who am I to judge him? I'm sick. I go to the doctor, and it was just giving me more medications and then another medication, it all compounded until years and years and a decade goes by and I'm still sicker than I was before.
Because you didn't have the clarity, right?
Right.
You see, if doctors realized that actually by doing the right thing, they would have more patients. So if this is a question about money, let's say doctors want to have more patients in the door, like bums on seats, for example, they'd make more money because what happens if you get healed by your doctor? What are you going to do? You're going to go and tell someone else that's going through that problem and say, by the way, this guy's a good doctor, or this lady's a fantastic doctor. Wouldn't you do that? I would do that.
I do it all the time for Dr. Barry, I'm constantly shouting those guys out, and they're amazing.
But I'd be more busy. So where's the loss here?
Right.
The loss is the pharmaceutical companies. That's where the loss is. So, but if they also concentrate on really pushing health, they could completely transform this industry, and mankind will just. I can just imagine a beautiful utopia one day, but I don't know. It's going to be a tough one.
It's a tough one, yeah. If they had a carnivore pill. We had a meetup earlier today. It was great. We had a carnivore meetup, and someone at the meetup said, imagine if there was a carnivore pill and I could give it to someone and they could feel like Demetrios and myself feel just for like one day. Who would take that pill and then be like, oh no, I'm good. I don't want more. Literally every person that would take that pill would want to do more of this.
That's the thing. There's no product at the end of the day,
right?
And now the industry is bringing out meatless products and genetically modified products. I travel the world for my work, and I see this everywhere, especially in the Netherlands, where pretty much everything's genetically modified. And I kid you not, I get sick when I travel and I eat there. So I don't even know what's going on in the United States. I have no idea. I can see what's happening from the videos that I watch, but I can just imagine it's as bad as the European Union and in the UK as well, where I live. And people are stuck in this fog. Literally, it's a fog, and they've got to get out of this to really see what's going on. So I don't preach to people now. 50 days later, I just made that video because I was happy.
Right.
I was excited. I don't want to boast about anything. I've got a long way to go. I've got my targets. I know what I need to do, and I won't change. But my objective really is to shine a little bit of a light,
Right.
to see if I could change one person's life, and that's really what my aim is. And then at the end of the day, I want to, like you said, enjoy life. You've got the rest of your life with your family and kids. Your wife and your kids, and you've got to be there for them. Everyone has family, friends. Don't you want to live a long life?
Right.
Simple question.
That's my biggest why now. So I've been doing carnivore over a year now, and all of my issues are done. And I see other people in my position. They fix everything, and then they're like, well, I'll go back to moderation, or I can go back to this. I have a more powerful why now than ever when I'm learning about people that are doing a proper human diet in their 60s, 70s, 80s, people that are doing it. Like, in terms of aging, I'm not worried about getting cancer. I'm not worried about diabetes. I'm not worried about Alzheimer's or dementia. I may get any one of those. Maybe tomorrow I'll have one of them, but I'm not worried about it at all, because most of those things are from chronic inflammation. If I go back to eating like I was before, there's no doubt in my mind, even if I have good intentions, I'll just eat healthy or moderation, it'll be back to chronic inflammation, because the majority of that stuff is just garbage. So that's my long-term why. I want to live long. I want to grow old with my wife and live long and live a happy and really live. Most people, they make it to their 70s and they're just barely getting by, and they're sore and achy and mobility issues and arthritis.
I mean, I look at my grandparents, and my grandparents lived to 95 and 110. And I'm wondering, why didn't then because I lost my dad about 14 years ago, and he only went to 80. And why didn't he go through that phase? Why didn't he go longer? And then looking back at my great-great-grandparents, all the way back, it was in the hundreds. So why today, what's changed? And if we look in our fields, the crops and the way we do fertilizers and all that, we really are not, we're not helping ourselves. We're really destroying something that was actually decent enough to have in moderation, but now it's at the stage where it's seriously toxic and killing us.
Yeah.
And we kind of hurting ourselves in the process. And unfortunately, when money is involved, it's the amount of money that gets put into something dictates when something gets adopted. So there's so much money, so much lobbying for all this high carb, lots of veggies, lots of sugar stuff, that you can walk into a supermarket today, and if you're lucky to find 1% in a supermarket, any major market that is worth it for you, you'd be very lucky. And that's scary.
Yeah. That's something I struggle with too. You mentioned it before. Like, I'm all for free markets and business, but when every financial incentive is solely and 100% just money, this is what ends up happening. We're getting kids hooked on sugar from a young age. They're lifelong sugar consumers. It's like drug dealers, basically. And it's just there's no thought in it whatsoever. You go down the cereal aisle, there's cartoon characters on the cereal boxes, get them hooked early and get them hooked forever. And
it's only a temporary fix, though.
Right.
No matter how many times I went and I had 3-4 meals a day, I was constantly hungry. No matter how much soda I had or pop, no matter how much sugar I had, because I used to love my fruits. I used to have a serious amount of fruits. I'd still feel hungry 2 hours later.
Yeah.
Now, I not only don't have cravings, and I've mentioned this in my video, I can walk past, and this is insane. This is the weirdest thing that's happened to me. I can walk past the vegetable, I can put them near my nose, and I can actually smell the toxins now. Now, I've had this very sensitive smell from a very young age, but now I can actually truly smell a toxin. And it doesn't, I didn't understand it in the beginning, but now I do. And that's incredible. That's something to note. And if you do that, and try and I challenge everybody, 30 days. Just try 30 days.
Right.
Do this. What's the worst that can happen? You're going to lose 30 days of your life. I mean, you've grown up so far. What
Right.
else are you going to lose? You've lost so much already.
Yeah. How many 30 days did you not do this periods throughout your life that you never would have remembered? If nothing else, it'll be a memorable 30 days. But I always tell people too, don't say you're going to just eat meat for 30 days. Just say, I'm going to eliminate all that garbage we just talked about. The sugars, the seed oils, the additives, we can't even pronounce half these ingredients. Just cut those out. You're going to be eating only meat once you cut all those out, but it's easier to stomach for a lot of people to say, I'm doing an elimination diet for 30 days. I'm going to see how I feel.
Yeah. Progress slowly through it. I mean, I'm more than likely at some point in time will come off the lion diet and go carnivore. So I'll probably start having eggs because I do miss my eggs. And I'll probably get, into a little bit of bacon, like you're saying, and add some butter. I'll be using mostly tallow, beef tallow. So I'll probably do that. But I know that if people try to go into it too far, like I or yourself have done, when you go all in, because I'm a person that goes all in. I don't play games. It's tough. It's difficult. It's difficult, especially when you're in a big family and you're trying to do it yourself, and then you've got the whole family around you and they're not doing it. I'm fortunate I don't have that. So it's a little bit easier for me. But I still have colleagues and friends that don't like what I'm doing. And my family's a little bit further away from me. But the point is, go into it slowly. But do yourself a favor, 80% meat, 20% the rest. And then slowly the next week, 18% less on the veggies and the fruits and so on. And the next week, an extra 2% off. By the time you get to the final 30 days, you'll get rid of your carbs. You won't even realize how easy it is to not have cravings. It really is. It really is. Yeah. But you won't notice it until you get into your 30 days. And you go, I can do another 30.
Right. I always tell people, like, give it 30 days. That's what I told myself. I'm like, at the end of 30 days, I'm reintroducing foods. Everyone that does it, they're like, I feel absolutely incredible. Why would I mess with this now? Why would I change anything?
Why would I want to do that? Considering I feel the way I do.
Yeah.
And I've got a permanent smile on my face. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, hey, Demetrius, we got some questions from the audience. Cool. You mind if we take a few? All right, let's see.
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
We got Tanya Mullins is a new member. Thank you for that. JD Hatfield's a new member. Thank you. We do members only live stream every Thursday, 3 p.m. And my buddy Adam was here filming me for the documentary. We did a bunch of behind the scenes.
I watched the video. Well, the short video you put online, yeah.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up too. We're going to North Carolina, South Carolina, Boston, and then Austin. Boston and then Austin. We're going to be traveling all around filming. So really excited for that. But we're going to do a lot of members only content. Thank you guys for the memberships. Really appreciate it. Let's see. Jovo said, day 13, made my first power bowls today. What a great example of BBB and E. Going to be a lifesaver because I can meal prep a few at a time. I guess that wasn't a question, but that's awesome. Congratulations. Yeah, the power bowl, beef, butter, bacon, eggs. That's been one of my favorites on Carnivore for the last year for sure.
I haven't gone into bacon yet or pork yet, but I might just try it.
Yeah. Hey, if it's working for you, I did 60 days lion and I felt incredible. And then I fell off because I ate some more bacon. Then I did another 16. And right now I think I'm on my daughter kept making bacon and I was like, all right, I'll just have a piece, but I'm back on it. I'm not like I'm lion or carnivore, but I've been doing lion for about 7 days now. And I just honestly feel better. Every now and then when I eat bacon, I feel pretty good. I feel 100 times better than standard American diet. But I always tell people, if you're doing carnivore and you're considering lion, it's not that big of a step. You know, you're mostly there. Even if you just did it for 3 days or something, don't commit to it for your whole life. Give it a try.
Yeah.
This is from Nurse Kim, a good friend of the channel. She said, oh my goodness, Carrie, this is what I was talking about. Oh, she burned her hand too. When I burned my hand, it wasn't as bad both times. Now mine wasn't that bad, but still. That's crazy, the healing. Like, I've heard so many things on carnivore, but healing is a good thing. I mean, you get all of that inflammatory food out of your body. Your body's got more energy. You're not inflamed. It makes sense that you would heal quicker. But they were telling you, what, 6 months, and you're 2 months out now?
Yeah, because the doctors initially couldn't see if I had nerve damage. And they'd seen, I mean, they go through burns all the time, right? This is the UK. There are a lot of cooks and chefs in my area. And they've seen so many burns, very similar to mine. And they were saying these people have only recovered within 4, 5, 6 months. So that's the expected time, based on statistics.
Right.
They didn't expect that I'd be almost 100% within 2 months. They didn't expect that. And they literally were so shocked that I had all my photos available to them. They watched everything. I called in, well, they called in 3 or 4 different, I think it was 4 doctors, different specialists. And they were like, okay, what are you doing? And I was really thinking, should I tell them or should I not tell them? What do I have to do this? Do I have to tell them everything I'm saying? I'm like, no, I'm just a carnivore.
Right.
And then what are you eating? Just meat. And the room was just quiet. And they didn't say anything else. They just walked out. There was no rebuttal from the doctors, except my nurse, who was like, by the way, my husband is a carnivore. Keep on doing what you're doing. I was
nice.
Like,
I recently went to the doctor and was telling him what I was doing, and he just kept saying, huh, interesting. Interesting. He said that like 10 times.
They can't say anything. They know.
It's really this is really interesting though, because it's like, my goodness, anyone listening to this, if you ever have to heal from something, there's more evidence for it. Anything, I would think, man, why not?
I would like to actually have a chat to Dr. Chafee about this, and maybe Dr. Berry about the healing. I'm going to do a lot more research because I am a digital forensics investigator myself. So I'm going to be doing a lot more research in a lot of my videos. In fact, my entire channel is going to change. Well, I usually make videos on technology and media creation, but you know what? That can just be my normal career. I'm going to concentrate on being healthy and make videos around that. So I'm going to investigate healing because it's truly quite shocking. The more videos I watch online about people healing faster. I watched that one video, I forget his name, that chap that's going through cancer and chemotherapy, and he's exercising, and you did a couple of videos with him, and he's so energetic. I forget his name.
Jeff.
Yeah, and it blows my mind. I can just imagine what his doctors told him. His prognosis would have been this much. Meantime, the guy is kicking butt, basically. He's doing it. And that's so good to see. He should be creating an entire wave of people who are going through this, listening and watching, because that is just, that's inspirational. Yeah, I went through a little burn, okay? For 60 days of a burn. These people are my heroes. You guys, you, Kerry, and Dr. Berry and everybody, you guys are my heroes, because I wouldn't be doing this today. I'd be very, very quickly towards an early grave. No jokes. I haven't shown people photos of what I used to look like 60 days ago. I just show you a little icon, a little picture on my thumbnail. Oh, it's pretty bad. Wow. You know, so healing, there's something about it. It's from the inside out. It's from the blood out to the rest of your organs. And of course it shows in your skin, it shows everywhere else.
Right.
So thanks, Kim. Thanks, Carnivore Nurse Kim. Love your name.
Right. That is such an important thing. I've learned so much on Carnivore Proper Human Diet. I haven't heard that much about healing, like you said. Now I'm just thinking about like being a burn victim. Like that's one of the most painful things. And then you think about burn units in a hospital. And then I'm thinking, what are they giving these people burn units in a hospital? They're probably giving them Ensure and sugar and garbage food. That was my friend Jeff that you just mentioned. When he goes in for the chemotherapy treatments, they give him cookies and Ensure. They just give him sugar. It's just completely opposite of what we should be doing.
Well, some of the doctors wanted to give me skin grafts, and I said no, because I know once they start cutting and they start doing that, I don't want to go through that process. I said, can I try for a month, and then if it doesn't get any better, can we then take that particular leap? And they said, okay, let's do that. But their initial stage was skin grafts. I'm like, no. I'm so glad I didn't choose that, because now my hand will recover properly. So
this is One Hope for All. Our friend Sandra, what kind of kids books and how many books have you written, and how long did it take you to write each one?
Off the topic, my website, you can take a look at it. It's obiwish.com. I make kids books between 1 and 7 years old, and then between 7 and 14 for teenagers, little short novels. They're highly illustrated. They're sitting behind me here. And it's just, again, another pet project that I just love doing, and it's got nothing to do with money. I just enjoy doing it because I've always been a writer. So why not? You know? And now that I've got all this energy, I'm going to publish the rest of the 99 stories that I've written. So
right. That's awesome.
And I'm going to do them much faster than I used to. So yeah.
Right.
Do I drink coffee? Absolutely not. I tell you why. As you go through the process of detoxing, and I even learned the new words, oxalates, and getting all the toxins out of your body, the funny thing is you'll start noticing that you'll have less and less and less cravings for everything, including caffeine. And being in the IT industry, I used to drink a lot of coffee. And literally after the 30th day, so halfway roughly of my journey till now, one morning I woke up and I just wasn't feeling like having a coffee. It wasn't like, I gradually stopped and reduced the number of coffees. No, it's just one morning I woke up and that was it. No more coffee, no more tea. But I did increase the amount of water I take. I have gone to close to 4 liters a day. Truly. That's a huge thing. But no coffee. I don't even have I've actually taken the coffee machine, put it in the box, and I put it away. Nice. I don't want it in case a guest comes along. I might have that. Yeah.
From Michaela, here's a quick testimonial. I'm on day 155 of carnivore healing from Crohn's disease, arthritis, and brain fog. I was convinced to do carnivore by day 2. This is remarkable. That's awesome.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor about Crohn's disease, but I can tell you a friend of mine who's going through this, the lion diet, and she had arthritis, pretty bad arthritis. She's done this, I think, for 80 days now here in the UK. Arthritis is gone. She doesn't have the pains anymore. So I don't know if it looks like it is the meat intake for sure. So
the Crohn's too is something I've heard Dr. Chafee talk passionately about, people that he's treating, like the recovery rate for Crohn's disease, eating a proper human diet. In Dr. Chafee's experience, it's just remarkable. I think he said something like 99% or something. He's like, do it and stick to it, which is just crazy. There's so many people in the world right now with Crohn's disease, taking all sorts of medications and going down all sorts of rabbit holes.
All these diseases we've had in the last 60 years are truly new for mankind. Yeah. If you go back and you do your research as well, and by the way, everybody who's watching tonight, it took me 3 days exactly to decide to do this. On the 16th of Feb, I had my burn, and on the 19th of Feb, I started doing this. In those 3 days, I literally didn't sleep right through the 3 days. I was just watching YouTube videos, doing my own research, looking up documents. And because I'm an IT guy, I can find documentation and paperwork anywhere in the world with white papers. And I found so much that allowed me to sort of really dig into this. But if you're going to do this, do it the right way. Don't use sweeteners for sugar. Don't use, an occasion to have a coffee or occasionally have a little bit of sugar or a little bit of fruit. Don't. Just cut those out in the beginning so you can see what happens. You need to get the benefits done right. Yeah. You will go through the phase. You'll probably go through a difficult phase. You'll feel terrible. I had flu-like symptoms for 2 weeks, and that was it. And you must replenish your electrolytes while you're doing it. Minerals and salts in your water, basically.
Yeah, it's great advice. I think a lot of people, they get excited about carnivore and they view it as any other diet they've done before. Like, oh, I'm counting calories. I did good all week. Now I can have some sugar. You get into ketosis when you're doing carnivore or lion diet. You have a little bit of sugar. It could knock you out for a couple of days. It's not the same as Weight Watchers, or you either do carnivore or you don't do carnivore.
Because they're treating it as a diet.
Yeah.
Stop doing that first.
Right.
Treat it as the right way to eat. Take the word diet out of your vocabulary altogether and say, this is the way I would like to eat. Say it to yourself like that. Don't say I'm eating a diet, because diets will yo-yo you. Don't. Just say, this is the way I'm going to eat from now on. There's no need to diet nothing. Yep. I eat close to 1 kilogram of meat a day, and only once a day. That's not dieting.
Right. So, and like Demetrius said, do your research. That's the other thing. I'll get people, they get in here and they get fired up. What do I do? What do I do to eat sick? I'm like, the first thing you do is just do your research. Like, every question you have is answered already. I can almost guarantee you could type in Dr. Berry, anything, fiber, Dr. Berry, whatever your concern is, the answer's out there. A lot of people are fearful to start, and fearful is usually just, if you're scared, it's just a lack of knowledge. But the beautiful thing is almost everyone has one of these. We have the internet, and this information is just free. It's amazing that it's all out there for free. Just go research it.
We're very lucky we have the internet, that we can find a lot of information. Just be very cautious. As a security professional, I'll know there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation.
Right.
Just be very cautious, but also use your instinct. You know what's right. Your brain will tell you. Okay.
Yeah. Does Demetrius have a YouTube channel? Yes. And I have the link in the description if anyone wants to click on it.
It's called OB Pixel, OBI Pixel, but it's mostly technology and media, but I will add other videos into it. However, a little bit of a surprise. I'm working on a website called meetmindfit.com, and that's going to be the website I'm going to have doing all of this. I may start up another channel, but I'm not really interested in Google Analytics and algorithms. I don't mind of putting everything into one channel. That doesn't bother me. I'm more about spreading out, the message really at the end of the day.
Nice. Diane asks, does Demetrios only eat the Lion diet or just no carb?
No carbs whatsoever. I threw out everything in my house. Everything. Cupboards that had all sorts of stuff like cereals and that gone. I threw all my sugars out. The only thing I have here is Himalayan pink salt, really. And that's it. And water and my red meat. And I mean, you can pick any kind of red meat cut you like. I do like my lamb, I must admit, but my favorite is undoubtedly ribeyes, man. They are unbelievable. And I have a pressure cooker and I can make stews, really beautiful broth stews with meat and brisket. So, but yeah, no carbs. And that's very surprising for me because I used to have, what do you call them? Chips, crisps?
Chips.
I had crisps, and I had all kinds of chocolates, and I had all sorts of carbs, and I had a huge amount of fruits. I had vegetables coming out of my ears here, rice, and so much different types of carbs. I literally, within the first week, I didn't throw them all away in the first week. I had them in the house just in case. I thought, let me see if I have to go back. On the 5th day, when I felt like $1 million, which I mentioned in the video, I took the black bags that we have in rubbish, right? Pulled everything in there, threw it all out the house. Nice. Literally everything. And alcohol as well. It's all gone. Nice. And I didn't drink alcohol. I used to have one occasion whiskey every so often with my mates, but that's gone. I don't need to drink anymore. It's no need. Doesn't feel like it.
Some people watching will say, but I was always taught you can't waste food. And my argument to that would be, he didn't waste any food. That wasn't food. That was waste. You were literally putting waste in the waste basket.
That was body nuclear waste.
Right. Waste in, waste out, man. That's one of the things on carnivore that's been eye-opening to me is think about all that waste we used to spend all our hard-earned money on, put in your body, and then not to be indelicate, but it goes right down the toilet. And then your body has to process all of that, use all that energy to process it for years and years and decades. The toll that must take on the body, literally just a big waste of time, waste of energy, waste of money.
I spend half of what I used to spend now.
Right?
And I still have the best steaks in the world.
Yeah. People have to understand that too. So many people, I can't afford to do carnivore. Literally, you probably have. Yeah. If you do the true math, you just got to do the true math. And no more snacks, no more beer, no more pizza, no more desserts, no more sauces, no more spices all over everything. You save a lot of money doing it that way. Sherry asks, how long did it take for you to feel the mental benefits from keto carnivore?
3 weeks. I went through the first week of feeling like $1 million. The second and the third week, I felt like a sick dog trying to walk across the floor because I was thinking I was sick, but I wasn't. Still trying to nurse my hand, obviously. I went through the whole detoxing and everything. And then towards the end of the third week, I woke up with such clarity that I literally ran to the beach and I just dived into the cold water, which is -5 degrees Celsius in the UK. It's really cold in Wales, right? I didn't even feel the cold. I was so happy.
Awesome.
So yeah, 3 weeks for me. Yeah.
I love that you have that down. That's probably the average that I hear. I always tell people it could be different. People are different people, but I've heard several people say 3 weeks or so they start seeing those mental benefits. So
I kept a diary for the entire 50 days.
Nice.
Every day. Yeah.
That's great advice too. I wish I had that.
Sure. Just to be 100% sure I was doing the right thing. I was given the advice by you guys, watching all your videos, and everyone who's watching, seriously. I grew up without the internet. I'm 50, right? I didn't have internet. I had a library. I had to go to the library and read things and learn things. You have such a treasure trove of videos online with especially this carnivore diet and the Lion diet, and incredible people. Learn from them, because in my 3 days, what I did, and about 2 weeks before that, what I learned in there, I couldn't learn that in any education.
Right.
Just go and do it. and then do your own research, look it up online, see what's happening. I kid you not. You'll find the information and you'll know what works.
Sherry Morgan, $5 super chat. Thank you so much for that. Every penny goes to the documentary. Really struggling to getting back to carnivore after 2 years strict. Any tips to getting back on?
Do it in moderation. Think about which types of carbs do you enjoy? I mean, if it's chocolates, if it is, fruits and stuff, you can reduce them, slowly take them out. But I think the key is not necessarily a reduction in carbs. I'd say really hugely increase your meat intake. Really push it to the point of 99% or 90% of meat, and then have a very small amount of carbs. You're still getting that satisfaction of carbs. And then eventually your body will tell you, I don't need the carbs anymore, because it'll know. But if you really want to do a proper job, it's not that simple for people who live difficult lives or busy lives or amongst family, and they're constantly surrounded by carbs. And sugar is a tough one, eh? That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's moderation, but even moderation is not enough. Just absolutely increase the amount of meat, keep a small amount of carbs there, and then eventually your body will change. Don't try to do extremes unless you can. So.
Right. And I guess the only other thing I'll add to that one is, so you were carnivore for 2 years strict, and now you're trying to get back on. Think about, I always like to do this little exercise. Imagine if you never did carnivore. Like, I can't imagine right now, 1 year later, had I not done carnivore. But then when you expand that out, what if I didn't do carnivore 5 years later, 10 years later? So some of this is like physical, some of it might be mental for you in terms of getting back on it. One thing that seems to help people always say they do this, but they don't do it. Demetrius did. He kept a log. He kept a diary, writing stuff down.
Yeah, very important.
So Sherry, write down, what if I don't do carnivore? What's going to happen? What if I do carnivore? What's going to happen? It sounds so silly and kind of trivial, but when you actually go through that and you really think about that exercise, you see it down on paper, it can really help with your mindset.
It's like learning anything like a subject at school, right? What did you first do? You wrote it down first, then you read it, then you try to learn it.
Right.
Same concept. I don't know why you forget all that when you become an adult. So think about this. There's one small question. How did you feel when you were doing the carnivore diet for those 2 years? And did you go through any illnesses during that period? And then how do you feel now that you're not doing the diet? And have you gone through any illnesses? And you might find the answer there.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. And instead of just thinking of the immediate, think of the long term. Like, do you want to grow old with your spouse? Do you want to age gracefully and while you're thriving, instead of having arthritis and all of these other issues? So think about the long term too. A lot of people focus so much on the immediate, and then it's just the immediate. It's like, I'm just going to go eat some M&Ms or something right now. But if you think about the long term, maybe it'll help you out a little bit. Jared Phillips, carnivore basically saved my life. Helped immensely with recovering from being an alcoholic. I feel like I did in my early 20s in a few months. Congratulations, Jared. That's awesome.
Jared, well done, dude. I've lost a friend because of alcoholism. He could have been saved because of that.
Wow. Blue Water Baboon. Question, Carrie. Someone mentioned Dr. Jordan Peterson earlier in the chat. Any possibility about trying to get him in your channel or film? Open invite. Like, that would be absolutely amazing. We're definitely trying to do that. I would love to have him on there. I think his testimonial on Joe Rogan has sparked the interest of so many people, planted so many carnivore seeds, Lion Diet seeds with so many people. Would absolutely love to, and we're trying to. So we'll see what happens.
I've had a very small exchange via email with if it's not himself but his team, and I'm sure very open to it. But he's incredible. He'll really sort your mind out, which is the other side of the coin. It really is important in life.
Right.
Really good.
Hey, we got a new member, Bob Barker. Thank you so much, Bob Barker. And then Edgar, $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Eating my steak and keep learning from you guys. Thanks. Oh, thank you so much.
Enjoy your steak.
Yeah, enjoy that thing. Hopefully it's a ribeye.
Don't forget your salt.
Right.
And bump up your fat intake. Trust me.
Yeah, it's all about the fat. It's all about the fat, right? It should be called fativore. All right. Let's see if I have any other questions here. Oh, here's one from Carnivore Scott. Shout out Carnivore Scott. Do either of you track your ketones via a blood meter?
On my side, no, because I don't need to track something purely from the fact that I feel good about something. If I'm feeling good, I don't need to track it. If I'm feeling bad, then I might do that. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the way I feel. I don't need anything to track me. I'll go and do blood tests maybe once every 3 months just to see, but I don't think I need my own, blood meter for ketone tracking. No.
Right. I've tested the Keto Mojo, but yeah, I feel so great. So like the last couple months on carnivore, I haven't done any supplements. I haven't done really any tests, but if I ever were to feel off, I would, but I haven't. But if anyone's thinking about doing that Keto Mojo is excellent. Professor Seafried was talking about that. My buddy Jeff DeProsperous uses that regularly. He's really trying to stay in a deep state of ketosis all the time. Let's see. We got Hawk Force. I reversed diabetes.
Wow. Not surprised.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Thanks, and I feel fantastic. That's awesome. Congratulations. Lost a bunch of weight, reversed diabetes. Papa Ketivore is down 83 pounds. 300 pounds to now 217. Congratulations. Excellent. That's amazing.
Excellent result.
That's one of the crazy things, Demetrios, with some of this is it almost is not normal, but you hear so many of these. You're like, oh, you almost shake it. Us carnivores, lion diet, proper human diet, we're like, yep, well, yeah, that's just normal. But from the outside looking in, it's like, that's 83 pounds, reverse diabetes. Before doing carnivore, I did not know you could reverse diabetes. I have so many family members with it, and they've had it their whole lives. I'm like, that's a lifelong thing, all those poor people. But no, it turns out you can reverse diabetes just eating a proper human diet.
I was very skeptical before I started everything. I have to be. I'm naturally skeptical. I'm a forensics investigator. I was one of those. Oh, no, that wouldn't happen. It can't be. It's not possible. Now, yeah, it's daily activity. It's fine. Makes sense to me now.
Right. I think we got one more question here from Drew.
Nice.
Is your African better than your English? You sound just like my son-in-law's father from the RSA.
I'm not from the Afrikaans side, which is typically old Dutch reform side. I'm more from the English side. So I do speak a bit of Afrikaans. It's more Dutch, but no, I'm mostly English.
Nice. And so you're living in the UK now?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm South African, born in South Africa. I moved over to Greece and lived most of my life there, then went back to South Africa. Went through a horrible divorce, then came to the UK, and I live now in Wales in the UK, which is quite nice, actually.
Is the UK one of your favorites of all of them, or?
I don't know. I'm probably going to see myself coming to the United States at some point.
Oh, nice.
I do visit the USA a lot for work, and I'm more than likely at some point going to move to the States. I don't so much. I mean, don't get me wrong. England is very nice, but I think Wales, which is more to the west, or no, is it east? I can't remember now. It's just a far nicer place. So I've got mountains and the beach and the forests all in one. So it's kind of nice. But if I'd say from a weather perspective, nothing can beat South Africa when it comes to weather. And when I'd say the closest I would say that is to South Africa would be the USA, because everything's nice and big and airy and it's easier to get around. But I don't really know. I don't really care. I just feel happy in the way I am right now. So for me, a country doesn't matter.
Right.
For me, my health matters now.
Nice. There's some an amazing group of carnivores in the UK. I've talked to quite a few now. I'm hoping at some point. Yeah. I want to get out there at some point. Hopefully filming for the documentary, but also just do a big UK carnivore meetup. I think it'd be awesome.
I'll be there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to be invited for sure. That'd be a lot of fun. There's quite a few people I've talked to out there. It's awesome people. I don't know if it's spreading or what, but there seems to be like
it is. And the community is kind of interesting because, I mean, it's spread across the country from what I've seen, but it is growing. It's growing really quick because there is. It's like the United States. There is a massive problem with the younger generation today. They are not teenagers. They're not at the healthiest, and unfortunately, the governments are not looking after this. The companies are not looking after this. So there's a big problem with obesity, and there's a massive problem with sugar. So at least 1 in 3 kids today have a problem, and that's huge. And I say kids, I'm talking about from teenagers onwards, up to say 25 or something. So it is a problem, and I think people are tired. People are fed up, and people are starting to wake up. The internet is a great thing. YouTube is fantastic for this kind of thing.
For this kind of thing, yeah.
Absolutely, because there's no decent movies to watch anymore because the writing is pathetic in Hollywood, for example. There's no decent entertainment anymore on television. So people are resorting to the good side of social media, not necessarily bad social media. And YouTube is beautiful for this. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I have teenage triplets at home.
wow.
And
You've
yeah.
been busy.
Yes. Well, and what you're saying is really the truth here too. My
Wow.
girls are the whole family now is doing carnivore, which is just amazing.
Wow.
It
That's
took a long
wonderful.
time. So it's so nice. But my girls prior to this, or when we look at like their peers, it's just like I think back when I was that age, I ate bad and it ended bad for me. It turned out good now, but before finding carnivore, I was overweight. I had so many issues,
You've
but
you've had a dramatic change. Wow.
yeah. So, but I ate processed garbage, lots of fast food. But this generation, like my girls, their friends, their peers,
Yeah.
it's unimaginable how bad it is now compared to what I
Yeah.
was doing. They're ultra processed. They're going to the Starbucks. It's just pure sugar. All the food in the grocery store is like ultra processed. And it's just kind of normal to all of them. Like it's really bad here when I look around and kind of see what's going on. I think it's going to be, it's going to have to be very eye-opening very soon. And we're starting to see it now with type 2 diabetes hitting teenagers and younger people and all of these issues and ailments. And I think it's going to just, it's like a powder keg ready to explode at some
Yeah,
point. So
there'll be a tipping point. There'll be a tipping point. I can see it already. I had a discussion with a doctor friend of mine, and they were telling me here in the UK that they're starting to be overwhelmed by the number of cases of diabetes and heart problems, especially for under 40-year-olds and under 30-year-olds, which is, it's disheartening. Eh?
Sure is.
Such a shame.
Well, I think we got through all the questions. Oh, wait, there's one more pop down here. Last one, Trisha Grant, $20 super chat. Thank you so much,
Cool.
Trisha. Hi, guys. Started carnivore back in February of 23 while recovering from total knee replacement. The only reason I had my left knee replaced, I walking flop-sided recovery for the right knee took 2 months, the left knee 5 weeks. Wow.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Wow. So the left knee recovered a lot faster. See, recovering. There's something to say about carnivore and lion diet. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is something. I'm glad you're interested in learning more about healing, and I haven't heard that much about it. I think there's something huge there to uncover and talk about more. All the people that are healing for many different various reasons. It'd be interesting to see some more around that for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do a fair amount of research, and I'll probably write a book on it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, probably.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I had really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah, everyone check out Demetrius's channel is linked to in the description below. And do you have anything else you want to shout out or mention before we wrap up?
You know, I don't want to keep everyone too busy. I just want to say one thing. I'm just so glad I got onto the show with you. I just took a potluck chance, sent you an email, showed you my video. For me, it's just a great big thank you. Because of you and Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee and a few others that sort of opened my eyes and changed the way I live. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about, you just making the videos and you're trying to help people, but it is real. You know, you need to be proud of what you've done, Kerry. And for all of you that are on the chat, you know, subscribe to the channel, but more importantly, check out Healing Humanity. You know, try and support it. I've supported, and I think it's such a great idea. I mean, it would be wonderful to do one in the UK, and really push that forward, because then it'll be in front of Netflix, and then you're going to get the general audience, and that's very important. And it's just a great thank you. I know that Dr. Chafee and possibly Dr. Berry may not be listening, but I just want to say thank you to you, Kerry. I wouldn't say saved my life, but you've certainly changed it. And for the better. And you should be proud of that, because look at your results, my results, and everybody we speak to. It's just amazing to see. And I would say this, we're finally back to finding ourselves. And that's cool. That's really cool.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your kind words. I really appreciate it. I'm glad Glad I was able to help in some way. I'm glad you did it though. That's what I always tell people. You got to be brave and you got to do it. And a lot of people won't make that decision. That's the hardest part, but I'm glad I had a small part in it. I really appreciate your nice words and you sharing your story on here. I think you're going to get a whole bunch of comments. You're like, "Oh, wow, this is pretty cool now," cuz you're going to inspire people. They're going to be like resonate with your story. So
I hope so. There is one thing that came through a comment today, if you don't mind me talking about, because I'm not familiar with it, but I would like it if I'll show you the comment. I'll send you details in the video that I put out, the one that I gave you already. There's one comment on there that I'm not sure, and maybe it's worth asking Dr. Berry and Dr. Chafee. A lady sent me a message talking about kidney flukes, like parasites in red meat, and we should be sure cooking the red meat the right way and blah, blah, and I should be, looking out for issues like that. And I know I'm not overly worried about that, but it could be something maybe we can get an answer from doctors as to how we should, think about parasites in terms of meat. Although I know there won't be in the way that I cook the meat, there won't be. But just it's an interesting comment that I couldn't answer as well as I'd like to. So
yeah, that could be a good one for one of the good doctors. Speaking of the good doctors too, Drew just said Dr. Berry put out a video yesterday on wound healing. I haven't caught that.
Oh, wow, I didn't notice that. Okay, I'll go check it out.
Yeah,
thanks.
Me too. Well, thank you so much for your nice words. Thank you for your time. Thank you everyone for your questions as well. Go check out Demetrius. His channel is linked to in the description below. He's got a great video he just did on his 50 days on carnivore, 50 days, 50 pounds, 50 years old. You look great for 52, by the way. You look awesome.
Well, I'm not 52, I'm 50.
50, yeah.
Thank you. It's good. It's good food. And then good genes, I guess.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, thank you so much, Demetrius. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Cheers, everyone. Bye.